Clarence Lee Jr. here, guys, author of the upcoming book Persist and the creator of the Impact, Purpose, and Destiny seminar series. I want to talk to you today about how to become more optimistic. So one of the gifts that, and if you follow me online for any time, you'll know that I always talk about sharing your gifts with the world. So one of the gifts that I've been given is this tendency to be optimistic. So I'm definitely an optimist, and I want to teach you a little bit about how I have sustained my gift and how you can, if you struggle with optimism in the past, these are some key things that you can do to become more optimistic about life. So the first thing is, look, pessimism never helped anyone. Okay, so this fear of things going badly or a poor outlook on the future doesn't really help anyone. I mean, what it does is, you can take a fearful stance and take actions based in your fear, but most of the time when people are fearful, they don't do anything. When they're fearful, it keeps them still. So there's not a lot of value in pessimism. And who likes a Debbie Downer all the time? If you're trying to do something or you're excited about something, the Debbie Downer comes in and says, wah, wah, well, it's not that easy. Okay. Well, people have tried that before and it didn't work. Okay. So pessimism doesn't have a lot of value. Okay, so I want you to start with that framework. So if I start to, and it's like I'm building an argument against pessimism or being a pessimist, but there's this persuasion out there in the world to be a pessimist, but pessimism has very, very little value. So, and here's the thing: everybody's going to have these, automatic negative thoughts that come up in your mind. Now, these are things that will come up that are going to counter some of the goals or some of the dreams or some of the aspirations that you have. And those are automatic. Everybody has those. The only difference between people that those negative thoughts control their lives and people that understand that they can control the negative thoughts is the fact that the person that controls them has put a system in place to replace them. Okay, so the first thought or the first thing for you to start training on, deliberate practice on, is replacing negative thoughts when they come in your mind. So you say, I want to do this. And then a negative thought comes up and says, well, that's probably not going to work. Boom, replace it with something. It is going to work. It will work. I'm going to make it work. I can do this. As soon as something pops in your head and says you can't do it, I can do this. Replace that negative thought. Practice, okay? And one of the ways you can do this is, clock the time that you spend thinking about negative thoughts versus thinking about positive thoughts, or thinking about what you don't want to happen versus thinking about what you actually want to happen. So in a sense, you have to become obsessed with what you want opposed to what you don't want. And I talk about that. That's going to be another talk about fear. Okay, because fear is simply an obsession. You just change what you're obsessed about. So pessimism doesn't have a lot of value. And number 2, automatic negative thoughts. Incorporate a system in your mental psyche where you replace those negative thoughts with something else. And that's going to involve the second piece, is policing your thoughts. Okay? Policing your thoughts is a more proactive approach to taking control or directing your thoughts more actively. So the idea is these automatic negative thoughts are going to come up automatically as I'm just sitting around, just hanging out, boom, or I think about I want to do something, automatic negative thought comes in. I start policing my thoughts. I say, no, I don't want to think that. Okay, great. Thanks for your input, but no. This is going to work. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do to make sure that I do it, right? So police your thoughts day in and day out. As you start to police your thoughts, the next thing, like I said, when I use the example of a pessimist, how they bring this language, they bring this pessimistic or negative language into the conversation. So the next thing you're going to have to do as you police your thoughts is to also adjust your language. So language is very, very powerful. I could spend a whole hour talking about how you can self-prophesize things into your life simply by speaking it, simply by saying, I am whatever. right? I'm not a great swimmer. Well, you're probably not a great swimmer if you tell yourself that. Or I'm not good at math, or I can't do that. Whatever, follows I am, or, those are very, very powerful words. So as you move to try to become more optimistic, now you guys are going to keep hearing this. You have to work in exercises and practical things that you can do to improve. So if you're trying to become more optimistic, or you would like to become more optimistic, this is how you do it. You police your thoughts, you police your words. How do you police your words? As soon as a thought comes in and you want to express it, a negative thought, something against what you want, stop yourself from saying it. Don't say it. Leave it at the thought level, but do not say it. So I'm going to break it down to you. And this is why I feel like incantations or affirmations, and these are things that you say in the positive. I am becoming, I am, I will. Okay, and you say those things over and over like they become a mantra for you. And why do I believe in that? I believe in that because let me break it down. If you think a thought, you took the mental brain power to form the thought, and then the thought is now created. If you take that thought and you turn that thought into language, now you are actively moving your mouth, right? Sending the brain circuitry from your brain to your mouth to now say, I'm going to form words and I'm going to produce that in language. That's two things. You thought it. Now you actually physically said it. The third thing is now you're actually hearing it because you can hear yourself. So people think language isn't important, but language is huge. Okay, because you think the thought, right? If it's an automatic negative thought, think the thought, replace it there, boom, say positive language. But no, if you do not do this, you can take a negative thought, actively speak, use energy, move your mouth, take action, speak, then you actually hear the negative thought. So now there's 3 ways to reinforce it, right? I thought it. I took action. I actually moved. I spoke it and now I've heard it. So I've reinforced it in myself 3 times. That's the power of language, and that's the power of thought. Okay? And if you want to take it even further, your language, your thoughts, what you do is going to be next. Okay? So what am I talking about? How to become more optimistic. Start policing your thoughts. Police your language. Every single day, work to only have positive, affirming things come out of your mouth. Avoid negative language. And if you're avoiding the negative language coming out of your mouth, what is the next logical thing is to avoid listening to negative language coming out of other people's lives. So the last piece is change your friends. Change the people you're around. Change the conversations that you entertain. Because they're very powerful in suggesting things to your subconscious and your mind. Okay, so you want to make sure that if somebody's suggesting something, you're auto-suggesting to yourself what you want, opposed to surrounding yourself with folks that bring negative language to you. On the flip, remove the negative language. Bring people into your life that speak into your life, encourage you, that bring positive language to you, because now it's reinforcing. Now it's a very passive way, but if you're sitting listening, you're reinforcing from a listening standpoint. And then if a person can convince you to didn't think it, now you reinforce it a second time, you do the thought, and then boom, if I really want to do it, I'm going to speak it, I'm going to say it to myself. Okay, so those are 3 ways. 3 things that you can do, strategic steps for you to take to become more optimistic. And with optimism, you're able to move, take actions, create things in your life because you have now convinced yourself to believe that you can do whatever it is, or believe that something is possible for your future. So I'm a huge optimistic. So I hope that today's I hope this few minutes that we've been sharing together, I just thank you for being here. I thank you for your time and attention, and I hope this was valuable for you. Share this with your friends, share this with your family, anyone that you feel like could benefit from this. I love sharing this value with folks and just bringing to the world and giving the world the gifts that I've been given. And that gift is, one of the gifts is optimism. So I hope this was valuable. Comment below. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you think about it. And we'll see you next time. Take care.